Hey y'all, welcome back to Convos with Bree, BREE. Today is day 39 of the Visibility Challenge, and today I want to talk about something that I have been hearing from a lot of you. A lot of people have reached out to me to let me know that this challenge has been extremely inspiring to them and that they too would like to do a visibility challenge of their own. And then I'll hear about the excuses about why they're not quite ready, what got in their way, yada, yada, yada. You know how it goes. We all do this with so many different things. And today I want to talk about that it it doesn't matter the excuse. If you want an excuse not to start, you will always find one. It does not matter what it is that you want to do. It does not matter what is calling you. If you are not ready, if you are looking for the excuses, you will always find one. You will not start. And this is the spot I want to talk about because most people, when they hear that or when they say that, they instantly go, well, I guess that's it. I'm never going to start. And they just beat themselves up. But I have noticed so much power because I am not a quick start on a lot of things. I have to think about something and feel called to it for a while before I'm really actually ready to start. And I used to also let that beat me up. And I felt like if I would have just started when I wanted to, I'd be so much further along. And I would really be pretty mean to myself about it. And that is what I see on so many of y'all. So today I'm just sharing this fun little fact that I have found in my own personal journey. And that is that things really started changing for me when I stopped being upset and I stopped looking for excuses and I instead met my truth with fact. I was called to do this visibility challenge for a long time. And somebody called me out and said, I know you've been talking about it for a long time, but are you ever going to start? And at first I got defensive because I felt like I was being attacked, honestly, like I was all talk and no action. But the thing is, once I was triggered, instead of reacting and immediately just giving a response to how my feelings felt, I took the tools that I had been learning and working on strengthening, and I took a step back. I noticed I was very aware that I was triggered and that I was defensive, and I stepped back and I took a breath. I took a breath and I asked myself why that bothered me. And the reason it bothered me was because I felt the truth in that internally. I was the one that felt like I was all talk and no action. I was the one that felt like I would never actually press go. And then what happened was I was able to show up in a new way. Instead of saying, I really want to do this, but, and giving my list of excuses, I started saying, I really want to do this, yet I don't feel ready. And then I could have deep conversations about what didn't feel ready. What would ready look like? Would I ever feel ready? And then I had to look at what I was fearing. A lot of what I was fearing was not being good enough. It was self doubt. It was, can I commit to this? Will this be another thing that I start and stop? And will I let people down? Will I let myself down? Once I said it all out loud, it all seemed really silly. This is just a little YouTube channel for myself. It's just for myself to get more confident and to be more visible and to do more of the things that I have wanted for my entire life. It's doing the things that feel the most me out loud instead of living within more often than out loud. If it's just for me, then why are none of my fears actually about me? It was about what everyone else would think. Whew. And then I started making the videos. I understood it. So I could start it because I was no longer making excuses. I was no longer not understanding the holdup. I understood it completely. And then I started doing this challenge, and I was really struggling with my self worth and perfection and the inadequacy. And could see where it was me versus me. And the more that I recorded, the more that I edited my own videos, the more I could see where it was really me versus me. And it started unlocking all of these things. And it started changing the trajectory of my path, of my perspective, of who I truly saw myself as, how I show up, how I do things. It's enhancing every area of my life. And it's making it impossible for me to hide from my fears. That's all it really is. Excuses are just hidden fears that we're not yet aware of. And for me, a lot of those fears took a lot of time to process. And a lot of it came with past hurt, past wounds, past experiences that were real. And that hurt was real. And I felt that. And I learned an entire defense mechanism and a survival pattern around what had happened. So, a lot of it, if I would have started this 3 months ago, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it. I probably would have talked myself out of it the first hard day. There's a good chance it would have been something that I started and stopped again. Because 3 months ago, I didn't have the tools that I have now. And 3 months ago, I didn't have the mechanisms to look at it the way that I am right now and to provide love in the way that I am now over criticism to myself. I was getting a lot closer, but I really did need that time. And my life was in a really big upheaval, and I was not sure what was going to happen, where I was going to land. Granted, anything can change at any moment. But trying to start something when I felt so untethered to reality already, when I felt so many emotions and so many feelings, so many insecurities and uncertainties, that would have been putting a lot on myself. at once. Waiting actually allowed me the space to truly trust the timing and to prove that I trusted the timing. It gave me a chance to say, I don't need to rush this. This will unfold as it's supposed to. This will happen. I will not talk about this forever. I will one day be in action, and I might not feel completely ready, and I didn't, but I'll be ready. And that's exactly how it happened. I had the most beautiful day with a great friend of mine, and she really, like a couple days before I started, she really told me that I had to put my foot on the gas. And she broke down why. And we dove into my fears, and she helped me see where I wasn't in the same holding pattern anymore. I was really just replaying the same old fears that I had already processed and that I knew I wouldn't be able to really let go of until I had experience now, like real time, present experience with these fears. I needed to meet them head on. And I knew this was different. This was different than 3 months ago. This was I was all strapped in and ready to jump out of the plane. And I was just in my now or never moment. That's different. That feeling is different. That is the moment you know, I may never be ready, but I want this bad enough to try. And you jump. And the next thing you know, you're free falling. And there's nothing you can do but ride the free fall. The more you relax, the more you can absorb, the more you can take in your surroundings, the more you can enjoy it. And that's exactly what happened. But I see so many people that feel the need to explain to me their excuses and why they aren't getting started. And typically, that's a time that I recommend to book a convo for real. To book a convo, even if we're friends, I can friend chat you, but what I do in a convo is different. That's when I'm showing up for my work, for what I do, for my natural abilities to guide others. That is where you show me that you don't just want a friend, you want to dive. You're ready to really commit to your process and figure out what these fears are, what this is. You're asking me to do what I do. And I don't just put that on people. Even if we are friends, I'm just this all the time. But what I do in a convo is different. When somebody books a convo with me, that's like giving me permission to be my fullest, weirdest self. And that's when you really get no holdbacks, no just trying to be your friend. It is, you're here, you booked me. This is not going to affect our friendship. This is going to affect your life. And it just gives me a freedom to dive with you differently. And that is why sometimes I have to book a combo with myself. I have to give myself the freedom to also be able to just dive in with these fears and understand that excuses are unnecessary. If it's not time, it's not time. And if it's not time, the way to build so that when it is time, you're ready. Instead of just giving up on your dreams, you don't do more, honestly. You do less. You worry less, fret less, you question less, you stop overthinking, and you do the exact opposite. You get lost in your life. You get lost in gratitude. You get lost in what just lights you up. And you allow yourself to fully, presently feel all those good feelings. That's the path that leads you and doesn't let you stray. It leads you to every single thing that it is you desire, that you crave, that you dream of. And it's so funny because if you spend a great day at the park with your kids, or you run and you play, you dance, you laugh, you see people that just enrich your life, and you are in that moment. You're not worried about time. You're not worried about the dishes or the laundry or responsibility or work the next day. All you're doing is being right here, right now, completely present in your life, completely surrounded by good energy, the things you want. Or let's say it's not even like typical good energy, okay? Let's say you've been really struggling and you take the day and you just feel your feelings. You sit outside and you soak in the trees. You listen to the birds. You listen to the breeze. Feel it on your skin. Feel the sun. Oh, man, yeah. You cry, you laugh, you whatever you need to do. And you release those fears, the grief, even if it's not all of it. Even if that day you just let one layer off, one piece of it off of you, and you allow yourself the ability to feel it and to be honest about where you are right now. You allow yourself to feel that it's hard. You allow yourself to feel that it's been hard, that it's been heavy, that it hasn't been what you've wanted. Even that, it's so therapeutic. And it allows you to breathe a little easier because instead of having to pretend you're fine, you had a day of being able to truly connect within. That is a game changer. That lets some of that energy off so that you can be open to gratitude, to things that light you up, to these great experiences. Being present is just being honest, and it's getting honest about what it is you want in your present moment, what you want it to be, what you want it to feel like, what's working, what isn't. And it's allowing that truth to come to surface. And sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes you get little revelations of things that don't really work in your life anymore. And maybe you don't want those things in your life, but you're not quite sure how to move away from it. That's where you start replacing. You start replacing the things and the feelings that you don't want with what you do. And slowly but surely, you build a life that is more of what you want than what you don't. And the flow just naturally comes out. The flow just happens organically and beautifully. It does not happen when you are overthinking or frantically searching for solutions. It happens when you start replacing what you can. For me, that started with just being honest about how much of my time I spent thinking about the negative, how much time I spent thinking about what was hard in the past, in the present, and what I feared in the future. a lot of us spend a lot of extra energy there. And we really change the game when we start to change the way we think and the way we feel and our awareness and our truth around this. Those big things aren't always so big. And the people that shouldn't be with you, they weed themselves out. They truly do. The more peaceful you become, the more bothered they become. And they see themselves right out. Most of the time, we don't even have to do anything. They just aren't around anymore. They stop calling, texting, showing up. They stop posting their mean comments and their hate. They just go away because you're no longer giving it any energy. If there's a job that you truly despise, but you stop thinking about how much you hate that job all the time, you're not spending every second of your free time dreading going back or thinking about how miserable the day was, all of a sudden, a new opportunity aligns, and it's easy to leave that old job behind. Things can't naturally unfold if we're constantly pretending we're fine, but internally we're stressing. And if we're constantly beating ourselves up and looking for excuses as to why we can't have the life we desire, why we can't make moves on the things we want to, how far behind we are, we're going to stay in that energy. It's just the truth. And it's just going to feel heavier and heavier and heavier as time goes on. But if we pause, every time we hear ourselves making an excuse or saying, oh, yeah, I was going to start, but pause, take a breath, and you say, I want to start, but I'm overwhelmed. I want to start, but I'm scared. I want to start, but this is what I'm feeling. This is where my holdup is. And then don't try to solve it. Don't try to fix it. Just sit in it. It is a truth. It is a truth you need to hear. And that might be the farthest you go with it that day. And then every time it pops back up, you remind yourself, I already found this truth. I already know what it is. And if you're overwhelmed, you're just like, I have too much on my plate. Look at the goal you're setting. How big is the goal? Is that what's overwhelming you? Like if I'm doing a 365-day visibility challenge and somebody has just started thinking about doing a visibility challenge and they're thinking, man, I have to do this every single day for a year, they're not going to get off the ground. I thought about this for years. I tried to do this for years. I have been working on my visibility for years, y'all. Like probably closer to a decade plus. I have really been trying. This was not an overnight decision for me. And time isn't really the factor. I'm not saying that you're going to go through a decade like I did, but it may look like mine. It may look similar. It could look completely different. That's the part that's beautiful about it, is it's just allowing yourself the space to be whatever it is. This is not my first time doing a podcast or doing a YouTube type challenge. This is not my first time on social media. This is not that at all. I have started and stopped and came back to this more times than I could count. I've done mini challenges. I've done all sorts of things. So if the goal just feels too overwhelming, let's make a smaller goal. Maybe you get online once this month and post something vulnerable, and then you celebrate the heck out of it. That is where it's going to light you up. That is where you're going to start seeing if you're really just afraid and you're ready to press go, but you're just circling where you're supposed to jump out of. Are you missing your opportunity? Or is it just not ready yet? Do you just need to get lost in your life a little more? Are you building your background, your foundation? Those those building blocks are so important. If I would have done this challenge and I would have gotten some of the hate that I got before, I would have crumbled. Previously, I would have crumbled. I had to deal with the past hurt before I was ready to take on this one. And all I've had is love. I've had nothing but love with this challenge. But I needed to have my nervous system calm enough to be able to handle anything that came my way if I wanted to be consistent in this big of a challenge. This was a huge goal for myself. And I recognized that right away. And I allowed myself the trust in the process to know that I was going to start. And when I did, it would be everything and more. So today, no beating yourself up. Just let those truths come to the surface. Greet them. Be aware of them. Let them be there. Let them exist. Let that process how it does. Let yourself trust your journey and trust that nothing that is meant for you will miss you. So when you're ready, you'll start. Will you feel ready? Probably not, but a part of you will. Two things can be true at once. Multiple things can be true at once. If you want to set a small goal, set a small goal. Otherwise, look at where you spend your energy presently. Look at your present life. How often are you present? How often are you checked in, enjoying everything that's around you, being honest about what you're really feeling, being honest about the way your life really feels and looks? Do something today that checks you in even more, that puts you right here, right now, and it makes you excited to be alive. It makes you feel a little freer, a little more you, a little lighter, a little more free. Y'all, the little things truly are the big things. And like Bob Marley said, every little thing, it's going to be all right.